What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the guild. Are you here to paint some Draugr walls? If so, you're in the right place. Let's get to the bench and we'll get right to it. Okay, so this is kind of where we're going. Kind of a two-tone, kind of an aesthetic with a little bit of that green. The green's up to you if you want to do that, but I'll show you how I do it anyways. To start, you can see I've got a bunch of these guys. I primed all of these with this Spanish moss dark green paint. Does it make that big of a difference in the final product? I don't know. You could probably get away with just doing it black and it'd probably come out the same. So that's up to you. But we're here. So we're green. All of this is going to be done with this big old fat dry brush. And for the most part, just these three colors. So we've got a bootstrap brown War Paint Fanatic. We've got a skeleton bone War Paint Fanatic. And then for the green, I was using an algae green speed paint and just putting it over the top. Nice and easy. So this is about as easy as it gets. We're going to be doing mostly some stippling, and we're going to start with bootstrap brown. I will show you a tiny little bit how to do that, and then we're going to time lapse doing all of this. We've got a lot to do, and then I'll kind of show you the feathering process for doing the top portion of this. It's pretty quick, so I'm going to get some paint prepared, and we'll get to stippling. Okay, I've got my bootstrap brown. I'm just in this little plastic palette. It's what I use for this. So to start, typically doing this, you could be a little bit heavier. I get a little bit off, but we're just going to be stippling kind of straight down in like a jabbing motion. If you're not familiar with a stippling, this is just to add texture and most of our base color. So if you're not sure, I would probably play with a kind of a spare piece. You could use anything just to kind of get used to the quantity. I always end up erring on the side of caution and almost going too light, probably wasting a little bit more paint than I need to. But again, this is part of why the green's underneath, just so if you do miss some stuff, but you're also getting more natural tones kind of up under that. That is essentially the basis of what we're doing, and we're going to do that to all 100% of everything. So we're going to cover the sides a little less generous, but hit all the faces, all the other pieces, and that's our first step. So time lapse, here we go. All right, so we've got all of these walls brown. This is getting painted a little bit of a different way, so don't worry about that. Now for the fun part of getting the actual kind of aesthetic of this. Now I do this a little bit lighter. We're using the skeleton bone, kind of the same stippling, and because it gets less kind of intense on like the lower third, typically I will kind of go along the top first, and you do technically stipple the whole thing, but it's like a very, very, very light on the bottom, because if you left it like this, it would look very odd, I think. So hit this a little bit more. So I'm good with that line, I think. And now we get most everything off. And we're going to kind of just hit a little bit of this. You're kind of trying just to almost dry brush some of the stone edge just to get it to, I don't know, kind of feather down so it looks like the bottom half's a little more dirty and it's not as like stark of a line. So this is where things get a little bit more specific. And again, if you want to, test this a little bit so you don't overdo it, It's pretty forgiving, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But that is kind of the general vibe, and now we get to do it on everything else. So let's go. Okay, all these are good. Now we're going to do some of the green. There's also going to be a couple other colors that are going to get mixed in, but for the mossy stuff, we're just looking at the green. I'm just going to use a little brush with a relatively small tip to do this green, but something else is the rags that are in these and the actual Draugr and I guess body. I will stipple some white paint with a very small dry brush just on that edge and then go over that with another color. These will get thinned down and painted with exactly these two colors. This one up here, this one down here, and then an Agrax Earth Shade over the tan just to bring it back down, and that's going to be it. But to do, let's just grab a wall. This is really, really simple, and the quicker you can do it, probably the better on a larger scale. We're just going to grab some of this algae green speed paint, and we're just going to pick some spots. And I don't put too much into this, mainly because you're just kind of going for the aesthetic. So make it kind of as messy or as clean as you kind of want. One thing that I do keep in mind is kind of trying to keep it somewhat balanced. Not that it really matters at the end of the day, but there you go. And that's it. We're just going to do that literally all over. I don't do it on the tops because it's technically like not in play, if that makes sense. So we're just going to do that on everything. I'm also going to go ahead and thin down and hit these two colors on all of the rags. And I will bring in the stippling and show you the body painting, but let's get to it. Okay, so we've got all these walls almost done. So again, I did the drapes. This one's bootstrap brown. This one's skeleton bone with Agrax Earthshade straight over it. That has a little bit of dry brushing with the skeleton bone over it just to give it something. This is where we're going next, which I've already done 2 of those. I will show you very quickly how to do that. We're just going to take any white paint. I've got a teeny tiny little dry brush. And again, we're just going to loosely stipple over this. The details of it don't really matter. You just need to give it a little bit of brightness so that it picks up what we do in just a second. And again, I'm not super concerned with the tops of these either. It's terrain. You go over the quick, easy steps. So we'll set that guy to the side. Clean off this brush. Now we're going to take some bony matter to the exposed Draugr and pallid bone to the wrapped thing. We'll go ahead and hit some pallid bone here. And we're just going to put this very quickly straight over top. Again, I think the name of the game with terrain is what would you say? Speed and efficiency for what you get out of it. And could you take the time to really cover these and paint them? You could, but is it gonna do it what you want it to any better? Probably not. So that's where we're going, right there. And that is it. So when that dries, it'll look like this. So you have a little bit of a lighter color, a little bit of a darker color, but that'll be that. And that is mostly the walls done. So B-roll and outro. All right, that's it. Hopefully this helped you paint up your walls. If you aren't already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Let me know what you want to see next down below, and I will see y'all in the next one. All right, bye guys.
Oh, Doc, the hunter, you're a digital wonder, building dreams from cold and light.